Brad Muniz. I'm a partner at Sobel Company. I would like to welcome you to Sobel Insights. Sobel Insights is a weekly series where we provide some brief information on various topics. Our goal is to keep these sessions to 15 minutes. At this time, we do not offer CPE. If you have any ideas for speakers or topics, please feel free to email me. Today's topic is Section 179D. Our speaker today is Mariana Moghadam. She's a partner in the tax department at Sobel Company. Now, I have been dealing with Section 179 for I don't know how long. It's this much of a deduction. It's this little bit of deduction. It's New Jersey separating from, or New York separating from the federal. So I've always dealt with 179 and bonus is separate. I know you're going to yell at me on that. I've dealt with 179 for a long time, but now there's a D. What is our internal revenue code section 179D?
So 179D is totally separate from the section 179 that you're familiar with, and the ceiling and the amount that you can deduct always varies. Today we are talking about section 179D. 179D is in my opinion, it's a great tax incentive that provides building owners an opportunity to claim a tax deduction of up to $1.80 per square foot for installing qualifying energy efficient systems on buildings. So this tax deduction applies both for new construction, if you're building a building from scratch, or if you're retrofitting a tenant space and improving on your HVAC, on your window envelopes, or your lighting system throughout the space. This deduction is available to the building owner if they make the construction, or if the tenant makes the expenditure and builds this energy efficient the space, they are eligible to get the deduction.
So it's related primarily to energy efficient, which is good. I like to see the government doing different things like this. We can do better things with trying to make things energy efficient. So it's towards the energy efficient area. And I'm sure that some people have air conditioning units, and we're only focused on air conditioning units, which some people try and claim as equipment. That are 20 years old and are energy efficient. This might be the time, if they're thinking about doing it, to get a benefit for it. That's great.
Correct.
Are there any particular buildings that this is restricted to, or that qualify for this?
Sure. So 179D is basically for commercial buildings, including warehouses and parking garages. It's for multi-family apartment buildings if they are more than four stories and higher. Also, government-owned buildings such as public universities and libraries do qualify for this. I mentioned apartment buildings with 4 stories or more. If you have a residential apartment building that is lower than 4 stories high, there is a 45L credit that they can get for energy efficient apartment buildings, which is totally separate than this. 179D is a deduction, which you reduce your expenses, you increase your expenses, but 45L is a tax credit that you get against your tax liability.
Oh, that's interesting. So we're looking at deduction, which is great. I mean, I don't want to pass up deductions. And for the viewers, keep in mind, and I'm anticipating this, is that the deduction is just the depreciation you take in advance. 179 is generally depreciation that you take in advance. It's not like you're getting an additional deduction. So you've got time value of money.
Correct. So the way it works is that in order to get this section 179D, you need to get a certification from an engineering firm that they actually go in and look at your building and your blueprints and all that. They have to certify that you are reducing the energy power cost of the building by more than 50% in comparison to the minimum requirements of American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning. So this is, you know how you go and get a cost segregation study?
Yep.
This is a study that there are engineers who actually go into the building, look at all your building interior lighting system, the heating, the cooling, ventilation, They look at your hot water system and the building envelopes to make sure that all these improvements that you're putting into the building actually reduces the energy cost by more than 50% of the requirement by
So,
the
and I'm,
Americans.
yeah, and I'm imagining it's the energy that relates to that particular fixture that you're putting in, air conditioning.
That area, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It'd be great for them to say that you have this, but you have to reduce all your energy. Well, I'm only putting in one new light bulb. Why am I, but.
Well, this is probably not going to be cost efficient for a new light bulb,
No.
but in most of the new buildings that they are building, they are all being green buildings and they are using energy efficient.
Yeah, I think what's important, something important that you just said, and I need for people to understand this, and I know that you get this a lot, especially emails from me. You said one word in there, or maybe it was a couple of words, but I'm going to focus it onto one word: engineer. Engineer. Okay, the certification from the engineer. It's like the cost seg study, where we'll have clients call us up and say, "I don't want to pay for a cost seg. Can't you do it?" So we're not engineers.
We are not engineers, and it actually needs to be done by companies that actually have the software and they are able to do that. The cost is not really that much, depending on the size of the building. At the end of the day, the saving that you're going to have, it's a lot more. So I did mention that they have to reduce the energy cost by 50%. If they don't, they will qualify for a lower per square foot deduction. So if they meet the 50%, they get $1.80 per square foot. But if they meet 25% on interior lighting, or if they meet 15% on heating, on HVAC, or 10% on the building envelope, they qualify for 60 cents per square foot. So this all adds up. And the way they can get the deduction, I'm sure that was your next question, Brad. So the way they can get the deduction is that if you're placing the building in service in the current year, you get, and let's go through an example. Let's say you have a building that costs you $20 million to build, and it's a 500,000 square foot building. If it meets the requirement, and the engineer certifies that you met the requirement, you get $1.80 per square foot deduction. So $500,000 times that $1.80 is roughly $512,000. So if you didn't get the certification, you would have to depreciate your $20 million cost of your building over 39 years. So that would cost, the depreciation that you get would be about $512,000. But the $1.80 per square foot times 500,000 square foot, that gives you $800,000 deduction right off the bat, the first year. So you get your $800,000 deduction for 179D, and then you depreciate the remaining cost, which is $19,200,000 over 39 years. So
Right.
that's roughly $492,000. So you get in the first year, you get $800,000 plus the $492,000.
Right. So, and that's what people have to understand is that if it's $20 million, you're not continuing to depreciate the full 20 million, you reduce the depreciable basis.
Exactly. So you're getting the time value of money, as you said before, you get $800,000 off the bat the first year, and you depreciate the remaining over 39 years.
So,
Now-
go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Are these going to be right on the typical forms, the 4562, or the additional form?
So this 179D, it's another, just a separate line item deduction. It doesn't go on your depreciation schedule. It's just on your other deductions. You just put down section 179D deduction. And the good thing is New Jersey follows federal. So you not only get this deduction on federal, you also get it on New Jersey. So this is great.
Wow, I got to get you to repeat that again. That's
So
good.
New Jersey always decouples from everything, but they
Sure.
do follow 179D. So you can get a deduction on New Jersey as well.
Oh, that's great. So, but it's not, it's treated differently, so we expect to see this differently on the K1s and everything. So, I mean, you said that this could be used for existing new buildings, new construction, and existing buildings if you're retrofitting. This can't be used for anything that was placed in service previously.
So yes, you can. So let's say you had a building that you placed in service 2 years ago, and now you hear about this section 179B. The good question, the good news is that you can do in current year, if you have been filed, well, you have probably filed the 2020 tax return, but in 2021, you can file a Form 3115, which is changing accounting method, and you can retroactively take the deduction. So again, going back to our prior example, if our 179D is $800,000, you will adjust it for the depreciation that you have taken in the prior years on that portion. And then the net effect you can deduct in your 2021 tax return.
Wow. Wow. Is there any particular number of years you can go back, or?
No, you can just go back.
I mean, probably the difficult thing, and I'm not expecting you to know this answer, probably the difficult thing is getting an engineer to prove that the numbers have worked out, you know, not in their favor, but it works out properly, because some engineers may have it difficult. But again, I am not, and I looked at your CV as you were talking. You're not an engineer either, so we're not going to try and pretend that we know
No,
how
you're
to
not.
make that determination.
No, you're not.
Oh, that's great. I mean, and this is out already. Do we anticipate this going away with the Biden proposals, or I don't know if this was in there.
This was not in there, and this 179D was set to expire in 2018, but with the CARES Act, they brought it back for a couple of more years, but now it has been signed into law that it's permanent, and it's not set to expire unless there is a change in government and they come and change it. But as of now, this 179D is here permanently.
I hope it stays. I mean, I like the concept. I like the concept that they're tying it to I'll say the green building. You used that word before, that phrase before. I think that's great. They're tying it to it. You know, let's try and do some stuff, and this is beneficial. It's helping that way, and it's helping then the taxpayers. What a great joinder that they have here of those two concepts. So sounds like you opened up with this is a great advantage. It's what an incentive. It's a win-win.
It's a great incentive. It's a great incentive. Yes.
Super.
And yeah.
Great. Well, I appreciate you giving us this information. As I said in the beginning, we give some brief information, and Mariana went into deeper even with the example. So I want to thank you for the information you gave. I want to thank everybody for viewing. But if you do have questions, I anticipate some people have questions. Please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help you out further. Thank you again, Mariana.
Sure. Anytime. Have a great day. Bye.